Good afternoon. I'm Allison King, and I am chair of the board of IHMM. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Institute of Hazardous Materials Management's 30th Anniversary Celebration Symposium. We're so delighted to see so many of our certificates here to help us usher in our 4th decade of protecting the public and the environment. As you can see, we are webcasting the event today, so I'd like to welcome everyone participating virtually as well. In fact, let's see how many of our certificates are with us today, at least in person. If you are a CHMM, a CHMP, or a CDGP, our new Certified Dangerous Goods credential, could you please stand up? Yay. That is so wonderful to see everybody. For those of you who weren't standing, we have staff here with us today, and I'm sure they would be more than happy to help you get started. We have a few members of our board with us this afternoon. We have Matt Redmond, who's our vice chair, Brenda Mahan, who's our secretary, and Jim Spattarella and Bob West, who are two of our directors. We also have the members of our 30-year anniversary task force who worked to bring today's celebration to life. Our task force chair, Liz Pfeiffer, and from our board, Brenda Mahan and Bob West. Jeff Greenwald is our executive director who keeps us all on task and makes sure events like this happen. Thank you, board, task force members, and staff. Jeff, please let your staff know how much we appreciate their awesome work. Could you join me in thanking them for their service to IHMM? I would also like to thank the Alliance of Hazardous Materials Professionals for their generosity in allowing us to bring our celebration to their annual conference. New Orleans is a perfect place for a celebration, and even the mayor agrees. Mayor Mitchell Landrieu has honored our anniversary with this proclamation that I'd like to read now. And this is the proclamation. Whereas the health and safety of the public and the sustainability of the environment are essential for quality of life for all citizens, and whereas the Institute of Hazardous Materials Management develops standards and administers certifications for individuals who manage hazardous materials in the environmental, safety, and health fields, and whereas more than 16,000 IHMM credential holders are deployed throughout the world, and whereas 2014 marks the 30th anniversary of the Institute of Hazardous Materials Management, celebrated with a symposium in New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, therefore, I, Mitchell J. Landrieu, Mayor of the City of New Orleans, do recognize the Institute of Hazardous Materials Management for 30 years of protecting the environment and the health, safety, and security of the public. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the great seal of the City of New Orleans to be affixed this 26th day of August in the year 2014. It is signed Mitchell J. Landrieu, Mayor, City of New Orleans. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate those very kind words. We know that you've been attending AHMP's great informational sessions yesterday and today. And we structured our afternoon together to be a town hall sort of format. We have some leading experts in the environmental, transportation, safety, and industrial hygiene fields with us today, and they'll present some perspectives on where we've been and what might be on the horizon. Thank you all for being here today. To start us off, though, I'd like to introduce Ken Manchen, CHMM. Many of you know Ken, I'm sure. In case you don't, Ken is one of the 29 people who took the first CHMM exam in 1984 and has consistently maintained that certification for 30 years. Whoop! Ken is the Corporate Director of Safety, Health, and Environmental Affairs at Premier Farnell Corporation, a UK-based multinational electronics distribution company with operations in North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and Australia. He is the past chair of IHMM's board and a past president of AHMP. He's an IHMM fellow and a distinguished diplomat, and received the Pete Cook Founders Award for Distinguished Service from AHMP in 2009. Because of his long history in the hazardous materials field, and with both IHMM and AHMP, we thought he was the perfect person to lead off our anniversary celebration. Ladies and gentlemen, Ken Manchen.
Thanks, Allison. Yeah. Boy, I have to live up to all that. Well, I'd like to thank Allison, and I'd like to thank Jeff and the Institute for having me today. It's an honor to be able to speak and to be here, so I thank you for that. Well, my role today is I'm the historian. And so, as the title says of our slide, I'm going to do a historical perspective, and I'm going to kind of run you through 30 years of IHMM. But I need your help. Okay, I need people. I've made up 10 multiple choice questions that cover our history. And so what I need you to do is I need volunteers to answer those questions. So I'm going to pose the question to you, and then I want you, this to be very interactive, so I want you to raise your hand if you want to answer a question, and we have someone here that can run over with a mic and give you the mic. Okay, so here's how it's going to work. I'll ask for a volunteer, you raise your hand, we give you a microphone, you tell us your name and where you're from, okay? And then once you do that, I'll read off a question to you and you can answer it, all right? And then I'll tell you a little historical perspective that goes with that, all right? So I've been goading people all day. Al, you're one of them, so we hope to get you up here. So let's start. Let's go to, well, before we go to question number one, who's our first volunteer? Do we have a hand? Oh, come on. Got to have somebody. Oh, okay. Al, because Al's, he looks eager. He looks eager. But I think he knows the first question, but we'll see. Okay, let's go to the first question. Oh, you have to introduce yourself. Go ahead, Al. Yeah, do that.
I'm Al Arnofsky. I am a fellow of the Institute. I am a recipient of the Pete Cook Founders Award. I'm from New Jersey. I've been active in the New Jersey chapter and in a number of committees on both the Academy and the Alliance. And I only have number 1450, I think. So
very good.
Which, for those of you who haven't heard, they started at 400. So it's
yeah. All right, Al, we've got a question for you. Which came first, IHMM or the CHMM exam?
The CHMM exam.
I told you this one yesterday, I think. Let's see. The CHMM exam. He's right. Okay. It was kind of interesting. You would normally think of an organization administering a test to be the one formed first. But in this case, in 1984, I attended a conference called HazTech, and I went there and when I signed up for HazTech, I noticed you could sign up for an exam I'd never heard of, which was called the Certified Hazardous Materials Manager, and met a man by the name of Hal Gordon. He administered the test. I got a call from him about 3 weeks after, and he told me, hey, you did pretty good on the test, you passed. He said, I'd like to invite you to Washington, D.C., because we're going to put an organization together that's going to run this. And so in the fall of that year, of '84, is when he called this big meeting together, and that's when IHMM was formed. So very good. Most people don't know that, so that's very good, Al. All right, who's my second volunteer? No. Go ahead. We have one right here. Yeah, Liz, we have one right here.
Brenda's got one on that side of the room.
Okay.
Hey everyone, my name is Linda Salzar. I'm from a company called Zephyr in Austin, Texas.
All right, very good. Well, let's go to question 2. Okay, which act or regulation did not predate the CHMM exam? And that's the Rivers and Harbors Act, the Clean Water Act, the Clean Air Act, RCRA, CERCLA, or the Underground Storage Tank regulations.
Wow, I might actually have to phone a friend if that was allowed.
Well, you can make a guess.
Actually, since I recognize almost all of those, I'm going to go with F. It's the only one I don't recognize. So the UST regs.
UST, you said. Oh, okay. It is impressive. Before I show the answer, it's impressive how many of the major rules that really run our field were enacted before. They always say timing's everything, and IHMM launched at the absolute perfect time when all those rules were in effect and there was no certification. So let's go on. Let's see. We'll continue. Well, you're still in the running. Let's see. You're right. Yeah. Very good. Okay, who's going to volunteer for question number 3?
Don't be shy.
All right, we have one on this side anyway. Oh, you got one there? Okay.
I'm Patrick Durbin. I'm from Austin, Texas.
Oh, another Austin, Texas. Okay. Let's see what we got here for question number 3. Where was the first CHMM exam offered? And it's either Philadelphia, Baltimore, Chicago, or Washington, D.C.
I believe the correct answer is the Aztec conference you went to.
Yeah.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Chicago.
Chicago. Okay, let's see what we got. Nope, it wasn't Chicago.
It was a
Let's
guess.
see what next. I can give you a lifeline. Do you want to ask for help? No? Audience help. You can ask for audience
Oh,
no?
you know what? I meant to say Philadelphia.
You meant that? All right, all right.
I did.
Let's see. And it is Philadelphia.
Yes.
That's where the Aztec conference was that I met Hal Gordon. Okay, we need a number 4 volunteer. Oh, come on, we got to get, oh, there we go. Robin in the back there.
Robin Spencer, California.
All right, let's see Robin's question. Which person was not an IHMM founder? There were 4 founders. I've given 5 names here, so which one was not a founder?
I'd say John Frick.
You said John Frick? Is that what you said? Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
well, we'll look, but John Frick, I should have read those off for the people that are viewing this, but it's John Frick, Jack McCambridge, Dick Young, or Pete Cook, and Robin guessed John Frick. So let's see. No. Pete Cook. Very important to our whole development, but he didn't really enter the scene until 1989. So it was 5 years after the kickoff of IHMM and CHMM. Okay, who's next? Who's our next volunteer? Oh, okay, we got one here. All right, let's see what your question is. Who was the first AHMP, or at our time it was AH, or ACHMM? Who was the first president? Was it Pete Cook, Smiley McMillan, Jack McCambridge, or John Frick?
I'm going to say Pete, Smiley McMillan.
Smiley McMillan, okay. All right, let's see. Well, it wasn't Pete Cook. Let's see. Oh, you're still, Jack McCambridge. Most people don't realize that the 2 organizations were actually one organization at the beginning. And that's because we didn't really have enough members to have a separate membership group. So Jack McCambridge was on the board of IHMM, and he just assumed that role for 5 years until a member-elected president was elected. So I think we get to that one later. So, okay, thanks. Let's see, we need a number 6 person. Who's our, all right, there we go.
My name is Manuel Montoyo. You killed my father. Prepare to die. I'm Larry Lydon from Baltimore.
Oh, all right. Well, let's see
Don't
what
hold
you're...
it against me.
Born in Houston? Is that what you...
No, don't hold it against me. From Baltimore.
We're going to make you yell out the answer. Okay, go ahead. When was the ACHMM, IHMM affiliation agreement signed? Was it 1984, 1986, 1991, or 1996?
It was the year I participated in the Atlanta Olympics as a line judge in an indoor volleyball competition, 1996.
1996, you said. Let's see what the answer is. You're still there. 1996, very good. Now, just so you know, it's one thing a lot of people don't realize, but the two organizations formally split and signed an affiliation agreement 12 years after the CHMM exam and IHMM were formed. So, okay, I need a number 7. We're closing in here. We only have 10. So who's going to be our 7th question? Okay, we have one right here.
Hi, this is Sauchanya. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, okay. And let's see what your question is. Which ACHMM president signed the affiliation agreement? No, don't. Was it Pete Cook? Was it Ken Manchen? Or was it Rich Cartwright?
Okay, of course, Rich Carter.
So you bought into the audience knows best. We'll see. All right, who was the first president? Okay, well, you're still there. It was Rich Cartwright.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was 1996. Okay, number 8. Who's going to be our 8th volunteer? Oh, there we go.
Tanu Das, Chicago.
All right, let's see what your question is. Number 8, which outside body accredits the IHMM certifications? Is it ANSI 17024? Is it CESB, or is it both?
Both.
Okay, let's see.
I trust Rich.
Yeah, it's got to be both. Let's see. There we go. It's both, yeah. Very good. Does everyone know the two different bodies? I think we all probably know ANSI. And I'm not sure if everyone knows CESB, but it's the Council of Engineering Scientific Boards. And it's one that we've had for, I guess, it's got to be between 10 and 15 years now. And so that's kind of an endorsement of our peers in the engineering community. And the other one, ANSI, is really it's an international standard that shows that we meet all the international criteria for a certification body. So they're both important to us. You know, we want to meet all the international criteria, but we also want the endorsement of our peers. So those are the two. Okay, we need a number 9 volunteer here. It's going to be our 9th volunteer. Did Cedric have his hand up? I think Cedric had his hand up.
I think he did.
I think he did.
I think he did.
I think he had his hand up. I picked this question for you. Okay, go ahead. Who is not one of the longest serving IHMM board members, officers, that served more than 20 years? This is a 20-year club, so who didn't serve more than 20 years? Was it Hal Gordon, John Frick, Jack McCambridge, or Dick Young?
Can I go with Ken Manchen?
You didn't introduce yourself either, Cedric, but that's okay.
Cedric Calhoun, I'm the executive director of AHMP.
Okay.
Okay. Not one of the longest serving.
Yeah, didn't serve 20 years, so not a...
Thanks. Yeah, I might have one. I might have to have a lifeline.
Oh, okay. You can ask.
Dick Young.
Dick Young. All right, let's see. With all that help, did he get it right? It was Dick Young. Yeah, very good. Okay. I don't know that everyone knows Dick Young and who he was. He only served for 5 years, but he was probably the most influential person, and is one of the reasons IHMM really made a bang when it came out. He's the editor, or was at the time, of the most influential magazine in our field, and that was called Pollution Engineering. I believe it's still there. I think I got a copy not too long ago. But Dick was the master promoter, and he was the marketer. And he made a huge splash in the magazine. So he's one of the reasons we really made it. And all the other people who tried to duplicate our certification, they came later and they were a little too late. Timing's everything. So Dick Young, very influential, but didn't stick around long, and wanted to eventually start his own certification because he wanted to market it. Right, so he was quite a promoter. As Al said, he did publish the names of the CHMMs in the magazine, so very influential. Okay, last one. We need a 10th volunteer. All right, we got one.
Gary Brigg, Louisiana.
All right, Gary, let's see what your question is. What's the average lifespan of a company or organization? Is it 40 years, 35 years, 30 years, 25 years, or 20 years? I'll give you, it's probably not really a hint, but I'll give you a statistic kind of goes along with this. Only 10% of companies or organizations make it to 100 years. So it's got to be significantly less than 100 years. But what will it be? 40, 35, 30, 25, or 20?
That's not a question for us.
Oh, I'm going to relate it to IHMM.
20 years.
20 years.
I'm going to guess 20 years.
Let's see what the average lifespan of a company is. Oh, you're still there. Oops, nope, no longer. Okay, and there we go, 25 years. So my point and why I wanted to throw that question in is to kind of end on that and say that we've already surpassed the average and we're going strong at 30, and that's a great sign for a company, and so or an organization like ours. So I think our future's bright, and that's what I wanted to end on. So thank you very much. Okay, Allison. Yeah.
Thank you, Ken. I did not know that we were going to have a pop quiz. That really was interesting. There were some ones I didn't even know. I think it's so helpful to see where we've been as we begin to play out where we're going to go. I was especially pleased to see IHMM was above the average for organizational lifespans. That's another reason to celebrate.